Hey tech fans, Lily back here with more exciting interviews from Start Me Up HK. So this is a gentleman I was very excited to catch up with. How are you doing today, David?
Terrific. There's so many interesting ideas here, so many people to talk to. Fantastic.
Yeah. No, we had, it was great to catch up with you earlier. We had a nice little conversation. So David, you're here on behalf of Imperial College, which just happens to be my alma mater. So you're the Director of Executive Education, right?
That's right, for the business school. But part of what we do within the business school is bring people in from across college to...
Yeah. Yeah, no, so something we were talking about earlier was sort of this cross-pollination, right? We need people with real-world experience to like help educate the young people, but then also, you know, we've got all this great ideas that are coming from these young startups that we need to like transfuse across the industry as well, right? So do you see this, where do you see this happening, or what do you think that universities can be doing to sort of help exchange these ideas?
I think one of the challenges and opportunities is that most of the problems or opportunities in the world don't fall readily into one discipline. They're not business school or engineering or science. They're not even OB, organizational behavior, or strategy questions. So what universities need to do is to be able to combine disciplines in a way that enables people with curiosity to think, how can we think of things differently?
Yeah. And so in your work, you're mostly working with sort of senior level executives, right? People who have like been out of the education system for a good long while in the world.
Good long's relative, but nevertheless.
Right. But here, you know, at the event, we're seeing lots of young faces here at the booth, right? A lot of the people who are like running these like startups who are sort of implementing these disruptive technologies and trying to change the world are sort of younger faces. So do you see enough, do you think we've got enough contact between younger people getting the wisdom and the experience from people who've sort of been out in the world and doing this thing for a while? And do you think we're seeing enough of an exchange the other way as well with people who are maybe in a more corporate world coming out to events like these?
So, that's a very good question.
That's a long question.
It's a long question. That's all right. So, I think there's a few things going on. So, I think startups, they're really short of time, short of money sometimes, but also short of experience, and also short of contacts. So if we can find ways for some of these startups having access to people who perhaps have got some different perspectives, then that's good. More important is making sure that people who have been around for a while have access to this, because too many times we have people who are quite senior in business making decisions about things that they just don't understand.
Right.
So if there are ways that there's some sort of trade-off here in terms of experience versus people who actually know what's going on, then that would be helpful.
Yeah, no, if we can get the best of both worlds there, right?
Yeah, and I think that's sort of what we're doing as part of what we're doing in Exec Ed. So it is usually bigger companies are coming to us and say, how do we get more entrepreneurial?
Right.
How do we get more innovative? And one of the ways is actually to bring these established companies together with startups.
Yeah.
So that usually works pretty well.
Yeah. And so speaking of the world, right? So you come from London to join the event, and how do you sort of see similarities, differences between the tech scene in London versus an ecosystem like Hong Kong?
So I think there are a lot of similarities. There are, a lot of people doing new things. There are, lots of startup spaces, lots of startups. I think perhaps the research there's a more pronounced research background in London, which, and indeed, we think about London, but actually there's, a lot of cool things going on in other parts of the UK as well.
Yeah.
So here we have access to clearly the Chinese market. So, and there's a whole quite a range of experience around here. So there's difference. So London's got a bit more scale, a bit more technology, a bit more research. Hong Kong has got proximity to the astonishing Chinese and indeed Asian markets. So some differences, but a lot of similarities.
Yeah. And so then, do you have any advice then for people who want to sort of enter this world, whether that's young people who are maybe like, they're super nerdy, they got these ideas, they just finished university, or for people who are maybe like, they've been out there, they're looking for a career change and they want to get into this world?
So, advice. I think I would say keep on building broader and broader networks. That there will be some people who are very close to you, but actually a large number of sometimes looser contacts can be really helpful in terms of generating ideas, in terms of accessing resources. Somebody described the entrepreneurial world as the utilization of resources not quite under one's control.
Okay.
So indeed, building networks, I think, is absolutely critical.
Yeah.
And the second thing is just try it.
Yeah.
Testing things in the marketplace, even if they're not developed ideas, testing them with companies, with ideas, just talking about them. There's just no point sitting in your bedroom trying to figure this stuff out. You've got to be out there.
Yeah, no, definitely something I've observed, and I think some of the more interesting startups that have sort of have this idea that is not necessarily the popular one is where you have somebody with this deep industry knowledge, right? And they happen to cross over somebody with the technical skills to actually turn it into something new, right? And I think that's quite fun is when you have that, exactly what we were talking about earlier, so that marriage of the best of the both worlds.
Yeah, I think having that diverse team is truly, truly critical.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things is that the really great entrepreneurs can either tack or pivot. You've got to be able to change your idea. Most of these business ideas don't work first time, and that ability to prototype, to try is really important. So don't be too attached to your original idea. Would be one bit of advice. Yeah,
have a little flexibility and to be able to change tack and move on to the next thing and try it if it works.
That's right.
All right. Well, it's been really great speaking to you here, David. Thank you for joining us. And so if people want to learn more about the kind of things, the work that you're doing and the programs that you have, where can they go?
Imperial.ac.uk. So, check out the website, contact me. We're doing some pretty cool things for people at every stage of the entrepreneurial journey.
Excellent. So thank you again.
Pleasure talking to you.
Lovely, David. All right. So stay tuned for more videos coming up from Start Me Up HK.